I'm here today in Lambeth Professional Development Centre, working with some newly qualified teachers. Today we're looking at applying for jobs and doing the demonstration lesson, the thing that all teachers worry about, especially when it's so short, often just 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. The whole 20-minute thing would freak me out because we're used to an hour lesson and how much you can put in that hour and how can you get everything in 20 minutes.
I had an hour when I did mine, and at the time I thought, oh my goodness, an hour, I'm gonna, you know, it's really scary, but actually it was better because I'd been doing lessons and they actually got to do the activity and the plenary and everything, so it must be quite scary doing 20 minutes.
If you've got to do a 20-minute lesson, you really must plan to the nth degree. The first thing to do is to look at the person specification and try and do a lesson within that 20 minutes that demonstrates those characteristics. They're probably looking for somebody who's enthusiastic, who's got passion, energy, who is creative and flexible. When you're actually thinking about the lesson you're going to do, find out as much as you can about the class, the age group, what they've done. But if I were you, it's best to choose something completely different rather than sticking with the curriculum, because you don't know whether they've covered it, and also the pitch of the lesson will also be hard to decide on if you don't know the children.
I'd just been so many interviews and so many observations where I just thought maths and just really boring lessons I did. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do something a bit different so that they remember me. So I got my drum out and started singing, doing like performance poetry. Whoa. And that's what got me the job, because it was different and they remembered me.
A short activity that shows you teaching, shows you getting them doing something and being busy, and then pulling it together. So something short and sweet. So think in terms of a starter rather than a whole activity.
Absolutely.
On the day, make sure that you come prepared with beautifully presented plans, maybe 3 or 4, so that you can give them to anyone who is sitting in the room watching you. It's likely to be the head teacher, maybe somebody from the governing body, maybe even a pupil, so have copies of the plan ready for them. Make sure also that you have all the resources that you need. Don't rely on the school having things. It may be that you have to go straight into the classroom, that you don't have any time to set up. It's a really good idea to find out the names of a few children in the class. Maybe ask for a high attainer, somebody who has special needs, somebody who has challenging behaviour, somebody who has English as an additional language. Just focus on 3 or 4 children that you can then be asking them questions that are specific to their kind of range of abilities.
What can they do? What have they done already? They could have done this lesson 2 weeks ago and you don't know.
Special needs, differentiation.
Yeah, so it's kind of related to that, meeting their needs.
Because when I made sure that I had work for a special needs child, so that they could approach the work if there was a special needs child in the class, and I also rang up and found out who were the children in my class and the different abilities, and that really helped, so I knew. And also, are you going to get a TA? Because in my first one I didn't, but my second one I did, so that was helpful.
These are good because they not only give you more information which reassures you, but it also makes you come across as professional and keen and caring and organised. When you're in the lesson, just relax. Try and enjoy it if you can. Certainly forget about the observers and just focus on the children in front of you. Try and build a rapport. Smile, try and enjoy yourself. Really great eye contact. With a couple of children whose names you know, make sure you use those names. Try and think of questions that are going to really turn them on and get them thinking. Certainly at the end, try and wrap it up so that you have the plenary drawing things together. But clearly demonstrate great eye contact, rapport with the children, smile, set some ground rules with them in a very positive way. You'll be great.
Just be flexible, just go with the flow. Don't stick to your plan if it's going wrong, and don't think that your plan is there because you have to follow all of it. You don't know the children, so it probably will change, and you can just talk about that in your interview. My tutor gave me some really good advice. She says when you go in, make sure that you set the rules straight away, and you say, hello, I'm the teacher, I expect you to listen, and that was so good because I didn't do that in my first interview.
The other thing to think about is if you have an interview afterwards, is they're bound to ask you, what do you think went well? How could it have been improved? And so to just bear that in mind while you're doing the 20 minutes.
And be honest as well, really say what you think would go wrong, because they appreciate that, and they'd want to know what you would do next time, because obviously you're not as comfortable with that class because they're not your class and you don't know them, so things are going to go wrong. So as long as you make sure you have noticed that as a teacher and you pick up on it and say what you would do next time.
If, for example, something unexpected does happen, like a child is persistently difficult, what would you do in that situation?
I think it's unlikely to happen, and please be reassured by that, because there's going to be one or two people in the room, probably the head teacher, an authority figure, and you're new. Most children will behave well, but just doing all the things that you would normally do. Proximal praise, so moving to the child near them, boosting them, catching them being good, giving them a special job. Yes, that might involve leaving the room, perhaps, I don't know. It depends on the level. I wonder if you could take this note to your teacher or to the head teacher at the back of the room.
Someone said to me, have a few strategies, because counting down might not work, because that might not be what they're used to, and clapping might not be what they're used to, and I took a bicycle bell with me so that when it tinged they all just looked straight up.
And this is my bell, so when you hear this, all quiet. Okay, quick, let's practice, or lots of noise. Bing! Perfect.
I did a couple of lessons, and they actually took some very difficult, disruptive children out of the lesson. I think because they want to see your best, and there's no point if there's a very, very difficult child.
After the lesson, reflect honestly on how well it went. But you must show that you are a reflective practitioner, so even if it went superbly, reflect, think what could have gone better, why it went well, what you could do that could have made it even better. And obviously the children were very well trained and clearly well taught as well. Nobody really expects the lesson to be perfect. What they're looking for is somebody with potential, and they're looking for somebody with enthusiasm and who can approach new challenging circumstances with verve.